This is Euro 2024, but instead of the 24 teams who qualified, this tournament features absolutely everyone, as we put 55 teams up against each other to find the true kings of Europe. So with help from the FM editor, we've created 11 groups of 5 randomised teams. 32 of these 55 teams will qualify for the knockouts. Then through a process of eliminations, we'll find out who wins. So let me know down in the comment section who you reckon is going to win the tournament. Let's start with Group A, where surprisingly to me, Greece finish on top ahead of Croatia and Czechia, who also make the knockouts. Greece's wins came against Czechia and Croatia. They ended up drawing with both Slovenia and Romania thanks to 2 penalties. Czechia and Croatia ended up drawing with each other 1-1, and then they both beat Slovenia and Romania. But Croatia's superior goal difference mean they finished second place in the group and have a slightly easier tie in the knockout stages. Also, I feel like I need a team to support, so I'm going to let Surprise Shirts decide for me. They sent me over one of their Euro boxes, which guarantees you a shirt from a team playing at this summer's European Championships. In this box, I have been given Albania! That's such a nice shirt. This is their third shirt and it looks super cool. I love the detailing of the 2-headed eagle woven into it. The handy info card inside the box has reminded me that Albania have got a very tough group in real life of Spain, Italy and Croatia. Obviously, we're also simulating this tournament in Football Manager. Surprise Shirts also do a Football Manager box, where you get a shirt of a team that you can manage in the game. So it's an ideal way to choose your team if you're stuck on who to manage. Or, like me, choosing a team to support in the Euros once England get knocked out. You can use code 10TOM at checkout to get 10% off your order when you visit Surprise Shirts via the link in the description. Amazingly, Northern Ireland top Group B, after coming from behind in a spectacular 2-1 win over Denmark, as Conor Bradley scores the winner in the 97th minute of the game. They also relied on a penalty to beat Iceland 1-0, before drawing against Finland 1-1 and Austria 0-0. Austria then thrashed Iceland by 5-0 as Schlager scores a 12-minute hat-trick in the second half. They also relied on a 92nd minute winner from Alaba against Finland, but did end up losing 2-1 to Denmark. However, Denmark were unable to beat Iceland, and so they fall to 4th in the group and face a shock early exit from the competition. Sweden top Group C and are the first country to win all 4 of their group stage games, scoring 11 goals and conceding just 1 in what seems like a very weak group compared to the other 2 that we've seen so far. Armenia and Azerbaijan also qualify from the group. Azerbaijan only just ahead of Latvia on goal difference, as they only lost 1-0 to Sweden compared to Latvia's 4-1 defeat at the hands of the Swedes. Every team was also able to beat Gibraltar, who become the first country to record 0 points, which is a real shame. When I saw how the groups were drawn, I was secretly hoping for Gibraltar to sneak through. Group D is an odd one, as only Germany and Scotland qualify. With 55 teams across 11 groups, the top 2 teams automatically qualify to give us 22 teams in the knockout rounds. And then the 10 teams with the most points in 3rd place also qualify to make it 32. Cyprus were the 11th ranked 3rd place team, and so they end up missing out. Turkmenistan also finished bottom of the group. They aren't in UEFA, but to get to the number of teams that we had to have to get this database working, we needed 2 extra countries. So seeing as Kazakhstan is in UEFA, its neighbours Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan have been granted a spot in this tournament. By contrast, Group E was a lot stronger, as Poland have to miss out behind Serbia, Belgium and group winners Portugal. João Cancelo's goal 54 seconds in against Belgium gave them the top spot in the group. Belgium managed to beat Serbia 3-2, which is why they finished second in the group. But Serbia's 0-0 draw with Portugal, as well as a win over Lithuania and an impressive win over Poland when they were down to 10 men, means they sneak through in 3rd place. Poland did beat Lithuania thanks to a Lewandowski penalty, but 3 losses in the other games sees them crash out. Group F is another weak group, but Switzerland can't claim all 4 wins as they draw with Kosovo. But they were able to beat both Belarus and North Macedonia, who in turn drew with each other. They then both went on to beat Kosovo and Luxembourg, but North Macedonia's superior goal difference puts them ahead of Belarus in the standings. I had hoped one of Kosovo or Luxembourg would make it through the group stage, but sadly, their draw against each other put any hope of that to bed. France topped Group G as they won all 4 of their games, scoring 12 goals and conceding just 1 in what turned out to be a very easy group for the French, despite Mbappe only scoring twice and both of them were penalties. Bulgaria won their other 3 games in the group to be one of the strongest performers in the group stage. But given the relative strength, or weakness of the group, I don't think they'll do too well going forwards. Hungary finished just ahead of Moldova on goal difference as they draw with each other, but both beat Liechtenstein to finish on 4 points. Turkey sit on top of Group H, a point ahead of Slovakia. After beating the Faroe Islands and Montenegro pretty comfortably, Turkey left it until the 91st minute to score the goal to beat Slovakia. Had they not scored that, Slovakia would have topped the group as Turkey drew 0-0 with Ireland. Slovakia won their other 3 games, including a late goal of their own, as they scored in the 89th minute to beat Ireland 2-1 and finish ahead of them in second place. But Ireland's victories over Montenegro and the Faroe Islands were enough for them to qualify in 3rd place and have a shot of the knockout stages. Quite nicely, Italy topped Group I, ahead of Ukraine and Wales, with our second invited side Uzbekistan just missing out in 4th place. After beating Estonia, Ukraine and Uzbekistan, Italy ended up losing 2-1 to Wales as the Welsh scored twice in the final 6 minutes to claim a famous victory. But they also drew with Uzbekistan and lost 3-1 to Ukraine, which is why they fall all the way to 3rd in the group. Ukraine also had a goalless draw with Uzbekistan, but their win over Estonia took them ahead of Wales in the group. Amazingly, in our penultimate group, Norway beat out both Spain and the Netherlands to the top spot. They beat the Dutch 2-1 as they weathered a late storm after going 2-0 up, as well as pulling off a 1-1 draw with Spain with a late Martin Odegaard penalty. A 9-0 win over Andorra and a 5-1 win against Bosnia gave them 10 points to sit on top of the group. Spain and the Netherlands drew 1-1, which ruined any chance of either of these sides winning the group. But they were both able to beat Andorra and Bosnia to make it through in 2nd and 3rd place. And finally in Group K, we have England and the team I'm supporting for this video, Albania. Thank you very much to Surprise Shirts for the shirt, link down in the description. England scored an incredible 20 goals and conceded just 1 in their 4 group stage games, with Harry Kane leading the Golden Boot race as he scored 7 goals. Foden actually sits in 2nd place with his 5 goals, pushing Timo Werner into 3rd place with his 4. My boys from Albania finished in 2nd, winning their other 3 games, as talisman Armando Broja scored a goal in each of their games, and they'll be relying on him to help them through the knockout stages. Georgia were also able to just beat San Marino and Malta to secure 3rd place in the knockouts. By the way, this video is being released on the 1-year anniversary of hitting 100,000 subscribers. In the year since then, we've added another 80,000 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible to have in one single year. But of course, I am looking forward to 200,000 subscribers, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, would love it if you could please subscribe to the channel right now. I will love you forever if you do. So that leaves us with 32 teams and some incredibly interesting games in the 2nd round, where we could see some unlikely sides make some deep runs. One of Georgia or North Macedonia will qualify as they play each other, as will one of Belarus and Ireland. And my boys Albania have a great shot against Bulgaria. But we start off with Sweden, who comfortably beat Northern Ireland 3-0 to be the first team to make it through to the 3rd round. Svanberg scored the pick of the goals with his wonderful free kick. Turkey beat Hungary 1-0 thanks to a Kochu goal seconds into the 2nd half. But Spain and Switzerland is a much tighter affair. Following Okafor's goal, Spain's only way back into the game was when Ansu Fati was brought down in the penalty area and Danny almost slotted away the penalty. This meant the game went to extra time where once again Switzerland took the lead. But the depth of the Spanish side was just too much, as they scored twice in the 2nd period of extra time to turn the game around and win 3-2. Portugal versus Azerbaijan was a lot more clear cut though, as the Portuguese have the strength to overpower Azerbaijan and win 4-1 on the night to also progress to the third round. England only just scraped through though, as they beat Austria 1-0 thanks to Kane to make the third round. Italy were much more convincing in their 4-1 demolition job of Czechia, as the Czech defence seemingly went missing for 90 minutes and as a result performed way below expectations in the second round. Despite taking the lead, North Macedonia lose to Georgia on penalties. After no one could score in extra time, it needed a shootout, and everyone scored their penalties until it came to North Macedonia's fifth, which was saved, and Georgia progress. Ukraine was so close to knocking out Germany. They scored first, but the Germans came back into the game an hour in. But 88 minutes in, Kimmich brought down Mykolenko in the penalty area, giving Ukraine a chance to win, but ter Stegen pulled off a huge save. As a result, we went to extra time, where Germany's depth came to their rescue as they scored 3 times to win 4-1. The Dutch had an easier time of things though, as they scored twice in the first half to beat Iceland 2-0 and make their way into the next round. And Norway continue their shock run. After topping the group, they've now knocked out Croatia with a monumental 2-0 victory. Scotland put up a good fight, and despite having the same number of shots, Belgium were just too clinical and sneaked through as 2-0 winners. Ireland versus Belarus was a real goal fest, but the Irish never looked like losing, despite going 1-0 down and then 2-1 down in the game. After getting back on level terms for the second time, they took control of the match and never looked back, eventually going on to win 5-2, becoming the team with the most goals scored in the second round and pushing Evan Ferguson up to second place in the Golden Boot race. Breuer also adds to his tally, as his goal was enough to beat Bulgaria 1-0 and see my Albania side progress. Mbappe missed a penalty in the 54th minute, which means that France have to rely on 2 goals in extra time from Rabiot and Thuram to defeat Slovakia and eventually make it into the third round of the tournament. Serbia looked in control of their game against Wales as they took the lead. The Welsh pulled one back 35 minutes in though through Ethan Ampadu, but it looked like it was going to be Serbia's day when they made it 2-1 in the 89th minute. But Kiefer Moore scored a last gasp equaliser in the 95th minute, which took the game to extra time, where Wales had the edge and scored a third and final goal to snatch victory away from the Serbs. And finally, Greece just beat Armenia 3-2 to also progress. The Greeks had looked comfortable in the game. They did have to come from behind, but they held a 2-1 lead from the 30th minute up until the 86th minute when Armenia equalised. But in extra time, the Greeks scored a spectacular third goal, which won them the game to make them the final side to reach the third round. But heading into the third round, all the games feel a little bit more one-sided, and I think picking the winners is pretty easy in most games, apart from Turkey against Belgium, which could go either way. As you would expect, Germany thrashed Georgia 5-2. Timo Werner scored himself a hat-trick to take his tally up to 8 goals, which at least temporarily puts him on level terms with Harry Kane in the Golden Boot race. Georgia did really well to score twice late on, but this was after Germany took off some of their stronger players to rest them for the next round, and it was just too little too late. Spain also dominated their game against Greece as they cruised towards a 4-1 victory, which sees them become the second side to make the quarterfinals of the tournament. Koke scored one of the goals of the tournament as his beautiful effort from distance found the back of the net. The Republic of Ireland gave it their best shot against Portugal, but it wasn't to be. It was a game of 2 halves, as Portugal raced into a 3-goal lead by the half-time break, only for Ireland to control the second half and score 2 goals of their own, but they just couldn't find a third or fourth to come back and win the game. France, on the other hand, were toying with Wales, as they scored 3 goals from 25 total shots, compared to Wales's just 5 shots and 0 on target. France haven't looked convincing in this tournament up until this game, but they have got the job done once again. Harry Kane scored a hat-trick against Sweden, which puts him on 11 goals and 3 ahead of Timo Werner in the Golden Boot race, and England remained the top scorers of the tournament heading into the quarter-finals. Cody Gakpo's goal was the only difference between the Dutch and Albania, who got knocked out. I will carry on supporting Albania until the day that I die. Big thanks to Surprise Shirts for sending this one over to me. Remember to check them out via the link in the description. Norway have once again caused a shock, as they've beaten Italy 3-1 thanks to an Erling Haaland hat-trick. Italy had no response and they were totally shell-shocked, meaning Norway reached the last 8. And finally, we saw a real FMing in Turkey versus Belgium. Turkey had 12 shots in the game but only scored once, whereas Belgium had 2 shots and scored both of them to beat Turkey and become our final quarter-finalist. Norway might be able to cause another upset against Belgium, but the other 3 games are going to be tight. Incredibly, Norway's run continues, as they smash past Belgium 4-0 to become our first semi-finalists. Remember, Norway didn't even make it to the real-life Euros, and here they are in the semi-finals of this European-wide tournament that we've created. Spain took the lead against Germany 15 minutes in, but the Germans were able to equalise in the 65th minute through Gnabry. And then, just as we were looking at extra time, David Raum scored a screamer in the 93rd minute to win it for Germany. England were very convincing against Portugal, as they won 3-0 with 3 different goal scorers, although none of them were Harry Kane. But he still sits on top of the goal scoring chart, as Timo Werner didn't score for Germany. And finally, France versus the Netherlands goes to penalties. The Dutch scored first, but the French equalised early in the second half. And when no one else could score, the game went to the spots. Both teams put away their first penalties, but Donyell Malen missed the Dutch's second penalty, giving France the lead. However, when it got to France's 5th and final penalty, William Saliba had his effort saved. If the Dutch score, they take the game to sudden death. But Frenkie de Jong had his effort saved, meaning France progressed, winning the shootout 4-3. So Norway end up being the most convincing side in the quarterfinals, but surely their run can't continue. However, France haven't been convincing at all with their scorelines, only scoring more than 2 goals in 2 of their 7 games. But they have still found a way to win, and I'm sure they will do here as well. And of course, they did. But they had to do it in extra time. It took until the 94th minute for France to finally break the deadlock through Nkunku, which broke the Norwegian spirit, as France then scored twice more to win the game 3-0 and reach the final. Germany versus England was a much tighter affair though. Foden gave England the lead 4 minutes in, but the Germans were also able to equalise 7 minutes later. Harry Kane scored his 12th of the tournament to give England the lead once again, but Musiala scored 2 minutes into the second half to once again level the scores. In the end, this took the game to penalties, where England were uncharacteristically good at scoring them. It looked like neither side was going to miss, as each of the players shrugged off the pressure for each penalty that came their way. Until it came to England's 10th penalty, where Ben White, who apparently accepts international call-ups in Football Manager, tried to Panenka his penalty and failed miserably. Germany win on penalties. Of course, that was always going to happen. So we have a France versus Germany final, which could very easily be the final in real life. And heading into the game, although Germany are technically the home side, I think France will end up doing it. Seconds into the match, and France found a way to break through the German lines, but Hummels got back and made a huge challenge to stop Mbappe. But the Germans were once again under pressure soon after, as Griezmann's free kick had to be saved to stop a goal. Germany had a chance to come forward 19 minutes into the game, but Gundogan gave the ball away, allowing for France to race up the pitch on the counter. Giroud found Mbappe, who managed to put a low cross into the area for Antoine Griezmann, who put the French in front. And the French pressure didn't subside. Their corner was cleared, but Theo Hernandez recycled possession, and after some neat passing, the ball fell to Dembele, who slotted his shot past the keeper and into the back of the net. Germany did have chances though. They also had a free kick that came close to finding the net. But they were pushing bodies forward way too early, which allowed France to have an incredible counter-attack, but Griezmann's effort was spectacularly saved. Nkunku then had the chance to make it 3-0, but his low effort was denied by the post and then cleared away by a combination of ter Stegen and Süle. So at the break, the French are in control and look like winning, especially when the second half by contrast was a real snooze fest. We didn't get a highlight until 20 minutes in, when the French stopped a German attack and went on the counter, finding a long ball down to Giroud, who managed to get it to Kingsley Coman, who took it on himself and scored past ter Stegen to make it 3-0. And that ended up being the only highlight of the second half, meaning France are crowned champions of Europe in Euro 2024, but everyone qualifies. If you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to love this one where I made Euro 2024, but the only teams competing are countries who have never qualified before. So here the likes of San Marino, Gibraltar and Andorra have a real good chance of winning the tournament. So go ahead and watch the video to find out how they do and who ends up winning the entire competition.